We are back on Sirius XM Radio and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Coming up on Inside the Green Room, we talk about how I spent my All-Star break, coaches letting their emotions get the best of them after the horn sounds, and our expectations now that we have James Harden in the lineup. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Inside the Green Room.
Chill.
That's Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. This is the first time since the pandemic started, Danny, that we have actually recorded an episode of the show in the same room.
In the studio, face to face, right?
In the studio, face to face.
How long is that? That's like 2 years?
March 2020, bruh.
It's almost 2 years.
Almost. It feels like 5 years, first and foremost.
It's been a while.
First and foremost. Oh, so now I am with Danny now because I didn't go anywhere. I stayed my ass in L.A.
Yeah, of course.
But Danny,
when I go to Philly, he didn't come with us.
Danny is finishing up his All-Star break. Decided to stop back in L.A. to visit his home and his friends. Thank you.
Plural.
Where did you go during All-Star break?
I went to Park City, Utah. It was a great time, actually, man. Even though we're in Philly, it is cold. Snow vacations are fun. Got a chance to, kick it with some friends, do some board games, but we also indulged in some of the activities. I watched a lot of the activities because I'm not allowed to do some of those activities. The skiing, the snowboarding, stuff like that, snowmobiling, ice skating. So I was kind of just around.
Play-by-play commentary?
Play-by-play commentary. But if I were to ever try it or ever do it, I would say it's very hard. And it looked rough. So my friends were going through it. And when I'm done playing, it's definitely something I would love to learn, probably take some lessons. But yeah, it looks like it hurts, and it does look very dangerous. And it seemed when I'm watching them go down the hill, like there is no way out but getting you have down the hill. So, it's one of those things you got to keep picking yourself back up until you finish it because there is no stopping, pausing, and just waiting on the mountain,
Yeah.
So it's definitely a character building type of activity.
Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers are probably very happy that you did not partake in the actual activities because you will be immensely important to the team going down this playoff stretch. So we will talk about that later in the show. But I want to stick with the fact that you did not go to All-Star Weekend, that you spent your time in Utah. Mm-hmm. On the scale of 1 to 10, after seeing what it was, 10 being I highly regret it, how much do you regret not going to NBA 75 in Cleveland?
Ooh,
10 being the highest level of regret.
The crazy thing is I never regret missing All-Star, especially when it's in, even when it's in good city. Not saying Cleveland's not a good city, but when cities were a major city, it's too overcrowded, it's too overpacked. Prices are raised up. So that's one thing that I don't enjoy, or I'm not even though it may seem like it, I don't like being around a lot of people or, the events. But the top 75, seeing all those guys there in one place, that was something special. And seeing some of the younger All-Stars, honor them, had Ja Morant book, they all, I guess introduced or honor them. That was pretty cool too. See how much fun they had All-Star Weekend. Joel brought his little guy out there finally.
Arthur.
James was there. Tyrese was there. Those guys represented us well. So I enjoy my teammates and crowd, but I need my space. I don't regret not being there. I do.
So like a 1, a 2, is it
maybe a 2, a 2 because of how many greats were there, and just seeing those guys. But I've been fortunate enough to be playing this game long enough to have come across those guys random times, and that probably would have overwhelmed me as well. Seeing so many of them in one spot. Mm-hmm. But seeing,
hi, Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, but seeing them sporadically is better. One time, actually say hello, get a chance to talk to them, meet them. But it's good to see even some of the guys that I play with, be honored, like Kawhi being there. Timmy had the screen thing going on. Brian, of course. There's so many guys that I thought were going to be there that didn't show up. But it was great to see so many of them in one place and being honored the way the NBA did a great job. So it was fun to see, amazing, and a lot of love being shared around from everybody. And they were showing a lot of love to a lot of the youth too, the younger generation All-Stars.
Speaking of younger All-Stars and candidates that could potentially be in the NBA 100 when that comes up 25 years from now. We're going to get Danny's opinion on the 5 most likely players to make that cut that are in the NBA that did not make that 75 list. That's later in the show. So one of the dopest moments of this weekend this past weekend was watching the NBA 75, the Diamond celebration. I have to imagine, Danny, you're teammates with this guy, Joel Embiid, being in that environment. He was gunning for MVP. Seeing guys, I saw all the video of guys like Kevin McHale, Shaq, I believe there's Kevin Garnett, guys pulling Embiid to the side and saying, like, you're doing your thing this year. I have to imagine, you already know how motivated Joel is this year.
Yeah.
That's only going to put more battery in his back for this second half of the season.
I mean, even before this year, he's always been, you could tell, he's been one of those guys that wants to be remembered as one of the greats. And being a part of All-Star Weekend, I think it just keeps reminding him and the things that he's capable of doing. I don't think he was shooting for MVP. I think he was shooting for not getting hurt and just having fun out there and playing, a good game and also winning because, the other team gets a bonus.
Yeah. I could saw he was definitely playing for money at some point.
They were trying to get a win. They were definitely trying to get a win. But I said being around those guys and seeing the 75, knowing that he's probably going to be, when it's all said and done, if he stays healthy and continues the path that he's on, he will be in that top 100 when the 25 years pass. So he's one of the guys that I expect to be there, especially his motivational is always like he has a superstar mentality. It's not like I need more help around me. It's like, all right, well, if we need more of this, I'm going to do it. We need more shooting, I'm going to shoot threes. We need another point guard, or so-and-so won't play. If Ben won't play, then I'll figure it out. That's a superstar mentality. Like, oh, we don't need him, or I don't need him. I'll figure it out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you do need teammates. You need those guys around. He understands that. But his mentality, his motivation is, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to find a way to win regardless. And I'm going to make myself that much better or that great to where I'm still winning games if those guys are not, playing their part or doing their part, or if we don't have the pieces around me. So that's what makes him great. I think that's what's going to make him top 100. And I said, him just being reminded each year is only going to make him that more dangerous.
All right. So I'm going to name 5 players who I think will make the top 100 cut.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, there's 25 more guys that can make the cut. But
For sure.
I'm saying
that's in the generation now.
I'm naming the 5 most likely.
Because there could be a whole bunch of players that are not even in the league right now today that could be in that top 25, right?
For sure. For sure. 5 most likely right now. Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Joel Embiid. Nikola Jokic. Luka Doncic. I feel very confident about those 4 guys. The other one, I wasn't sure yet, so I am going with LaMelo Ball.
Tatum is one I hope he stays healthy. Because he does have the pieces, but as you've seen, T-Mac was left at the top 75 list. Guys like that. So if he has a long, tenuous career and has a bunch of all-NBA teams, which he's going to need, because I don't know during his tenure if he's going to get an MVP. And I don't know if he's going to win a championship but they've been hooping. Yeah. The way they've been playing, Boston, if they're playing like that in the playoffs, they're going to be very dangerous. Nobody's going to meet them in the playoffs. They didn't miss a shot against us. I think it's the first time in history that a team has made more threes than we made field goals. And they gave a good old-fashioned ass whooping.
Yeah,
so,
yes,
but they won 9 straight, then they lost to Detroit. You're like, what the hell? But they've been hooping, they're playing well. They got Derek White over there now. Ime's got them moving the ball and trusting each other. So it's going to be interesting. The way they play, if they continue that and they get some right pieces, he could. But as a Melo as well. Unless you win some championships, get an MVP and all NBA teams, those 2 guys are going to be tough. I can see Luka getting a bunch of all NBA teams, getting an MVP. Jokic already got one, and we got some NBA teams. And Joel as well. So those 3, to me, I think are halfway solidified. Other ones have a little longer way to go, I think.
For sure. It's exciting to see how it all turns out. Pretty dope that James Harden showed up for that ceremony as well,
For
even
sure.
though he wasn't playing in the game. Looking very much forward to Friday. Before we even talk about what could happen on Friday evening, the debut of James Harden with the Philadelphia 76ers, we got to go back to the collegiate days. When we come back, Juwan Howard let his hands off this past weekend. We got to get Danny's opinion. We're back with Inside the Green Room. That's Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford on NBC Sports Philadelphia and Sirius XM Podcast Network. Danny, this past weekend there was a fight between the Michigan Wolverines and the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yes.
Now, it wasn't just the fans in the stands. It was the actual coaches.
Yes.
Juwan Howard has been suspended for 5 games for throwing his hands at an assistant coach after Greg Gard, the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, kind of stopped him during the handshake line. I want to talk about the merits of the handshake line as you played at North Carolina.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, I hope you agree, because people are trying to say that Juwan Howard was justified, which I do not.
No,
Thank you.
There's no justifications for putting hands on someone. There's other ways to handle situations, of course. Did I think 5 games was excessive?
It's the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, not too excessive. I was expecting 3 to 5, but I was hoping for 3 or 4, at most 4. 5, kind of on the border. It was open hand and fast motion. It looked like it was closed hand. It was open hand. Still no justification. Did the other coach get any?
Coach, I think he got fined $10,000, but that's
No
it.
suspension.
No suspension. I mean, the man didn't do anything wrong outside of call a timeout, which was the right thing to do.
Okay, during that time, nothing wrong. But in the handshake line, you do not need to grab another human being.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So, in collegiate basketball, you are required after the game is over to shake the other team's hand, regardless of what happens on the court.
Required.
It seems as if it's a requirement because every team does it at the end of every game.
You should. It's a good sportsman-like thing. I don't think you're required. You could. I think if you don't want to shake hands, walk the other way or just walk off the court. You don't have to shake hands.
Okay. With that being so, when you were at North Carolina and you played Duke, you clearly didn't get along with Duke because that is the Tobacco Road rivalry.
For sure.
Did you ever feel forced to shake hands after the game?
No. Certain times, there's never been where I'm not a bad sport, or a sore loser. There's very few times where I left the game and felt like I was cheated or that they were dirty or that I wanted to fight the other team. So no, most of the times, even though we disliked them, we still respected them. And it was a mutual respect factor to where, all right, you guys beat us fair and square, or we beat you guys fair and square. We're going to shake hands and move on and find a way to get better. We might have liked it, but we did it, So we weren't sore losers. We lost in good sport and shook hands and kept it moving. But now if the team we felt was dirty or they cheated or something happened, that's a different story. We've gotten to AAU fights before as kids. College, not many fights. We have been number 1 and before North Carolina ranked number 1 or highly top 5 where we lost and other teams stormed the court so we couldn't shake hands, and some of our guys have gotten almost into fights with fans, so that happened. But it was never a time where we left that court or left the game and felt like we're in disgust of this other team. They don't deserve our sportsmanship.
Since October 2021, Ben Simmons refused to be your teammate, along with your other teammates on the Philadelphia 76ers. On March 10th, he can potentially return to Wells Fargo Center as a member of the Brooklyn Nets, and he could play against you. When the game is over, are you shaking hands?
First, let's break that down. Interesting dynamic of how things went down. Interesting dynamic of who went with him. I don't know. I haven't got a chance to talk to those guys yet, but I know they weren't on the most of cordial terms when he was in Philly with Drum and Seth. So I wonder how that relationship is now. I got a chance to talk to them. Now, will we shake hands to start? Probably not. First, I'd be highly surprised if he even plays in that game. I don't know where his health is, and we all know that he does not like to play in Philly. So if he does play in that game, I'd be highly surprised. But say that does happen, I see it as being a very hectic playoff-like atmosphere environment, to where it may be very rough for him. Depending on how he interacts, and I don't have any ill wills towards the guy. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. It's just, for me, it's whatever. I'm saying? Like, he's just another being. I waste more energy going on my way to dislike him or spend energy trying to, go on my way to hate him or to do things to him. If he comes up and shows love, I'll say what's up. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of deal I'm on. I'm not the type of guy to not say what's up to people that doesn't say what's up to me.
Bygones are bygones.
That's it. Let bygones be bygones. I understand you have mental health issues. I understand you don't want to play where you want to play. Whatever it is, you did what you need to do, make better for you in your life. That's cool. Do I think you'd have handled it better? For sure. Because, we had nothing against you as teammates. Still have nothing against you. But it all depends on how that game goes, how he interacts in that game, how well he plays, or how cleanly or non-cleanly he or us plays against each other is going to determine how we shake hands. But I said I highly doubt he plays in that game. And if he does, I highly doubt he wants to shake hands before or after that game.
I'm excited for your game Friday night. I'm sure Sixers fans are excited for your game Friday night as you play against the Minnesota Timberwolves, which will be the debut of James Harden. But that March 10th game against Ben Simmons potentially is circled 1, 2, 3, 4. It's infinite amount of circles
for other people. Yeah, for a lot of people. I think a lot of guys are not expecting. We don't know who's going to be healthy for them.
Don't spoil it yet, Danny. Let's be optimistic.
Let's hype it up.
Thank you.
KD, Kyrie, Ben, they're all going to play.
Thank you.
You know, so it's going to be a fun one. Regardless, we'll have all our guys healthy. Finally, we haven't had a full roster all year, and I'm hoping that we do for that game, and I hope they do as well. And if both teams do, it's going to be a hell of a game.
Back with more Inside the Green Room. That's Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford on the SiriusXM Podcast Network and on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Shout out to my man Jeff Schechter for letting us use his dope studio here in LA, as Danny has been took a stop before he heads to Minnesota to join the team with Joel Embiid and the bearded one, James Harden.
The process in the beard.
The beard is processing, or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about this before the season, and now things have changed. You have an MVP level player on your team. We don't know how it's going to be coached yet. We don't know what the rotation is going to look like, the lineups, XYZ. And obviously, you have to stay healthy. Every team does. But considering all those, and considering if it's maximized, the roster, in terms of construction, in terms of lineups, XYZ, considering that you maximize your health capability. Everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
What are now the realistic expectations?
We knew, even though Ben didn't play, we had a good group of, good team, a good group of guys that could make some noise happen in the playoffs. We didn't think we were a contender, but we thought if things went the right way, we could easily sneak in there, slip in there somehow, and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now that we have everybody in roster, we have another point guard, new point guard, MVP caliber player, another level point guard. I think the expectations are even higher. We expect to get to the Eastern Conference Finals at least, and if not the finals. We have two guys that are very good at what they do and that can bring us to that level, and we have some pieces around us that can get it done. So when it comes to James, we hope that it helps our pace. It helps us get more perimeter shooting and also another playmaker. Don't forget, he does get to that free throw line. So the way Joel gets the free throw line, when he gets the free throw line, that puts a lot of pressure on defenses of staying out of foul trouble and also us to be able to get easier baskets when things are kind of stagnant or things not going well. I expect him to help us with our pace, perimeter shooting, perimeter, finding guys and playmaking. And, right now we're top 3 seed in the East. I expect us to stay there, if not getting to no 1 or 2.
Any 76ers fan should not be disappointed if you guys lose in a competitive series to the Milwaukee Bucks or whenever that might happen. It could happen in the first round.
For sure.
A competitive series loss to the Milwaukee Bucks is acceptable, or a competitive series in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
Whether you could lose the Eastern Conference Final, but if it's competitive, I think you guys are on the right track. I think anything less than that would be seen as a disappointment. Is that fair?
Agreed.
Okay, cool. Also, I have gained an amount of respect, more respect for the Philadelphia 76er fan. Do you want to know why?
I'm listening.
Because my dad used to tell me when we were growing up, when we used to go watch you play, he'd say in his Jamaican accent, Harrison, they don't understand. They're not going to understand Daddy's game.
Why is that?
Because you're not the flashy type. You're not like you work as a function of the offense.
Yes.
And so now with James Harden here, I'm starting to, and I read all the Twitters, I read all the Reddit for good or bad, and I'm starting to see a lot more commentary where they're saying, hey, Danny's going to be so much better now in those corners because he has James. Daryl Morey hopped on a Sixers podcast and talked, and he tried to get to the point where I think he was illustrating how important you are now, how much better he expects you to perform because you are a function of the offense type of player. How do you feel about your expectations now for yourself, considering that you have a point guard?
I don't like to get my expectations too high for myself. For our team, for sure. It's not about an individual thing for me. It's all about winning. And obviously, I try to contribute that. What I would like to happen, I would like to be back in my element and how we were last year. I feel like we were running smoothly. You know, we had Ben last year, and I feel like James is a similar type player with pace wise and how he gets the ball up the floor and how he can create. Obviously, they're a little different in how they do it, but ultimately the same where they can create shots on the perimeter for your team. So, you know, it was a career high attempts last year from 3-point line. I don't expect that to happen, but I would like to get back to closer to that. I would like to get more looks or open looks or in rhythm looks to where, you know, I'm in a good rhythm and then where I can be effective and help our team. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward. Can't wait to see how it goes. I don't know how the lineups are going to be. Like you said, it's been different each time. We've had different starting lineups, different finishing lineups. We don't know what's going to happen. And I think Doc plays it on who's playing well, you know, game to game. But I think I will be able to be more comfortable in my element and be more effective with helping the team and helping myself and being more myself and playing at a better level with him on the floor.
For sure. Yeah, that definitely makes me excited for you. I think a lot of Sixers fans could almost, yes, you don't want to scrap away what Joel did in the first half of the season, but I think this is it's not an entirely new team, but it's a new slate.
For sure.
For the entirety of the team, because everybody can now fit into their roles. Somebody like Tobias Harris as well can be fit into that category. Furkan Korkmaz, everybody's going to get back to who they should be or playing the role that they should have that they originally brought to this Philadelphia 76ers for. In a very near episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to do a mock draft between Danny and myself where we pick Danny's best teammates of all time.
Jeez.
I mean, a bunch of guys on the NBA 75 list.
Manu Ginobili, well, he was left off with AD. There's a lot of guys.
We definitely...
Dwight, who should have been in there.
We definitely have to do a Danny Green all-time teammate draft, and then we'll throw it in like NBA 2K or something like that to find out which team was better. I think I'll draft the better team just because I have a better eye for talent.
Good luck.